Everybody, welcome back to Leosophy. A little bit later in the day and in the week, and I'm slumming it in terms of clothes. It's just a lazy Labor Day, but still going to answer those questions. All right, so let's jump in. What is the most... Sorry, there was a bunch of noise there. What is the most related language to English? Two come to mind. In terms of just overall word overlap, Frisian, which is found in, I want to say, the northwest part of the Netherlands, I think. And speaking of the Netherlands, the other language that has a lot in common is actually Dutch. Dutch is kind of unique. It's kind of like on the cusp of like French, German, and English. Kind of the way that English, because it almost died several times. Old English was very Germanic, and now it's has a lot in common with some of the more Romance languages like Latin and French, and then there's also Greek loanwords and things like that. Dutch has a lot in common, and Frisian, huge overlap. One thing that I find interesting, and this could just be a coincidence, but like when you actually hear Dutch people talk, they sound oddly American. Like it's almost like you're having a stroke. Like the way they speak, the pacing, the dialect, everything about it, it sounds very American. It's just the words don't make sense because it's not English. I just find that interesting. I don't really know if that's a coincidence or if it has to do with the fact that there's a huge overlap. Plus, modern Dutch uses a lot of English loanwords, surprising amount. So I'd say that it's probably the easiest language for a English speaker to learn. Next question. What the heck? Sorry. Give me just a sec. I accidentally... One second. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I accidentally cut and deleted the question and I had to undo it. Sorry about that. Anyway, why did humans domesticate dogs? Okay, good question. Because I wasn't there like 20,000 years ago, it's hard to give a fully definitive answer. But I think the objective truth kind of lies in how early humans, got their calories. That was the big part of the struggle for all life back in the day. And for humans, we were a kind of unique hunter that relied on our stamina. Humans have amazing stamina compared to other animals. And so what we would do is we would just sort of like jog or power walk, or even just walk towards animals. We were like the Michael Myers of the prehistoric age. Like imagine you're like some prehistoric herbivore, something similar to a pronghorn or a gazelle or a deer. And you're eating and you smell and hear a human being in the distance. Probably several male human beings, prehistoric. And you run away from them. And they use hoof prints, scat, bent twigs and leaves to stalk that animal. And again, they're not running. The prey animal is running. Humans have stamina, and we have the brains to conserve our energy. So after that animal feels safe, it lays down, and it relaxes, and it rests because it just used up a lot of energy running, right? And then they smell and hear people again, and they get up and they run some more. And they just keep doing this until they're exhausted. And eventually, at some point when they're wore out, again, very Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees-ish, that band of human hunters just pop up and they're not exhausted. And they kill that animal, usually with like an atlatl or a spear, some kind of primitive bone, wood, or stone-based implement. So that's how humans hunted. We would hunt very differently from most predators. Most predators are either ambush predators or pack-based predators that outrun, outflank, outmaneuver their prey. But we use our stamina to exhaust our prey. That's how human beings got a huge chunk of their calories and nutrition since time immemorial. It's literally how we got the calories and the fats and the nutrients to develop our brains, was that method of hunting. Well, when you add dogs to the equation, once a human being did domesticate a dog, now the chief reason why they did it, they could have just really liked whatever little wolf puppy they found, or or some wolves may have just hung around humans and observed them and sort of got just naturally and organically sort of adopted into a human society. That we don't really know the exact catalyst for how it went down, but we do know that we influenced each other's evolution. Dogs played a role in the domestication of humans just as much as we played a role in the domestication of wolves. But where I'm going with this, though, is now imagine that you're a human and you're still using those little hunting bands. You and like 5 other dudes are just power walking towards gazelles or whatever until they get wore out and tracking them. Now if you add to that equation about halfway to the point of exhaustion, now the gazelle isn't fully wore out. Now it's halfway wore out. What would have taken 6 hours of stalking is now taking 3 hours. Now it's just slower than the dogs. It's not slower than the people by a wide margin, but it's slower than the dogs. Well, now hunting has gotten a lot easier. Now you've expended far fewer hours, far fewer calories, and taken far fewer risks of getting hurt because you've incorporated dogs into your society. It's so effective. Hunting with dogs is so effective that even in the Middle Ages, in certain circumstances, hunting with dogs was banned because it wasn't considered sporting, and 2, it was so easy. And that's the case even now. Like, for example, if someone is hunting deer or turkey in the United States, it is illegal to use dogs for that purpose. And the reason for that is because you could just rack them up. Like, it would be so much easier. And so that's the chief benefit, at least, as to why humans domesticated dogs. The actual catalyst, again, we'll never fully know, but it's probably along the lines of some person was fascinated with a wolf cub and took care of it, or some group of wolves naturally and organically just sort of became part of a human tribe just by being on the outskirts and eating their leftovers and things of that sort. The real catalyst for that relationship is secondary to the benefit that happened that just completely changed the path of evolution for both species. So really interesting stuff. I'm going to pause it one more time to draw up the third question. Okay, there it was. Wow, this is like the easiest one I've ever had. It's more of a personal question. What is the worst thing you've ever cooked? Hands down, I love gumbo. I'm not great at making gumbo anyway. I always prefer other people's, but I didn't know. Okay, first time I ever made gumbo, I didn't know that you only used one thickening agent. You either had filet gumbo with sassafras powder, or you had gumbo with okra, because okra contains mucin, and that's what thickens it when you apply okra. And if you don't use okra, then you use sassafras, which also contains a thickening agent, which may also be mucin. I can't remember. Anyway, I did both, and it set like flipping cement. It was I ate it all. I ate it all because I'm cheap and don't like to waste food, but it was rough. It was like eating mortar. It was like eating the thing that you use to lay bricks. That's what it was like. And on top of that, I didn't really cook the roux long enough. It was more of like a yellow roux than like a peanut butter or a red roux. And there were little bits of it that fully hadn't cooked, so it was like flour flavored mortar with shrimp and sausage mixed in it. I still ate it though. That's all I've got. Thanks for asking that question. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and keep asking questions. Bye.